when Joe Biden and I came in office, during the height of a pandemic, we saw over 10 million jobs were lost.
It was 9% when I came to office.
Okay, when he came into office, January 2021, it was 1.4%.
Well, that's close.
The average was about, I believe, 1.9% under the entire tenure of Donald Trump. We're going to go through the actual claims. Our fact check. Fact check. All right.
5 minutes. How did you get Tim Walz for the stinger?
Yeah,
That's awesome.
Val Kilmer from Real Genius disagrees with you about geniuses wearing those kinds of shirts. We'll pull it up later.
Yeah?
All right.
Sure.
Where's he? So,
He's doing fine.
is he alive?
I don't know, actually.
Yeah.
Now that we
Yeah,
said
he's
that.
alive.
That's really poor taste.
He had cancer. He has cancer. Had or has. It's not. Yeah, it's in poor taste.
Well, yeah, we love that.
We gotta.
I hope he's okay.
Fact check to get.
He's the finest Batman our generation has had. Now, let's go through these claims that she made. On the economy, she was pressed. Okay, here's the claim that Kamala Harris made. The economy is only bad because Trump mismanaged COVID. They're going to use this a lot.
You call it the opportunity economy. You are well aware that right now many Americans are struggling. There's a crisis of affordability.
Yeah.
One of your campaign themes is we're not going back. But I wonder what you say to voters
Take it back.
who do want to go back when it comes to the economy specifically, because their groceries were less expensive, housing was more affordable when Donald Trump was president.
Well, let's start with the fact that when Joe Biden and I came in office, during the height of a pandemic, we saw over 10 million jobs were lost. People, I mean, literally, we were all tracking the numbers. Hundreds of people a day were dying because of COVID. The economy had crashed. In large part, all of that because of mismanagement by Donald Trump of that crisis. When we came in, our highest priority was to do what we could to rescue America. And today, we know that we have inflation at under 3%. A lot of our policies have led to the reality that America recovered faster than any wealthy nation around the world.
Okay, so here's the truth, all right? And all references are available. The economy was rebounding under Donald Trump. And when she says mismanagement, it was the Democrats who wanted to extend lockdowns, and Donald Trump helped improve our economy in spite of them trying to kneecap it. So I don't know if you remember this. April 2020, Donald Trump told states that they could start opening up, encouraged it. Who slammed him? Who tried to block him? Democrats. You can see that right there. You can see Washington Post, NBC, Vox, Guardian, USA Today. You had all kinds of... pretty much every Democratic official saying it was irresponsible. It was unwise for Donald Trump to reopen the economy. So let's look at what those numbers actually tell. Unemployment, okay, in April 2020, it went up to 14.8% with COVID. That's true. Keep in mind, this is at a time when a novel virus that came from a lab, wet market because someone ate a bat, required, due to pressure from international communities, things like the WHO, by extension the UN, you saw our show yesterday, saying you have to lock down, you have to shut down your economy. So unemployment did go up to 14.8%. When he left office, January 2021, the unemployment rate had already gone down to 6.4%. Okay, so there was already a trend. 14, he slashed that to less than half. Let's look at GDP. Let's look at Q2 of 2020. It was negative 32%. Okay, that's because of COVID. Then Q3 2020, it was up, not negative. Now it's plus 33%. And typically, GDP is measured by a positive. So it was 33%. Then you look at 2020 Q4, before he left office, it was, again, at 4.1%. Which is, remember when he said he was going to try and get GDP over 4%? That's a number they said you couldn't hit, and he hit 5%.
Yeah.
So he was right back on track. Our country was back on track by the time he left office. Let's look at year-over-year inflation, because she's saying this is Donald Trump. He mismanaged it. No. You wanted him to manage it. If you want to know how COVID would have been managed by the left, look to New York, look to California, look what happened with the schools, look what happened with the businesses. You can even look at, by the way, Minnesota. Tim Walz.
Especially.
Let's look at inflation. Okay. Biden also said this. He said that inflation was 9% when he entered office, which is interesting to me. Before we go to the clip, it's interesting that Kamala Harris, she's doing the work for Donald Trump here. She is tying herself to Biden because she wants to try and claim some kind of victories or successes, and she has none of her own. So let's allow herself to be yoked to Biden. Biden said inflation was 9% when he entered office.
No president's had the run we've had in terms of creating jobs and bringing down inflation. It was 9% when I came to office. 9%.
Okay, when he came into office January 2021, it was 1.4%.
Well, that's close.
The average was about, I believe, 1.9% under the entire tenure of Donald Trump.
Yeah.
So it was 1.4%. Then, in January, that's when Biden and Harris signed the $1.9 trillion American Rescue Plan. And the result was in June of 2022. June of 2022, 9.1% inflation. That month, that's a 40-year high with an overall inflation rate of over 20% under Biden, which is the worst that anyone born post-1970 has seen, and arguably even certainly the Carter years.
By the way, after the rescue plan and what I think it was Q2 of 2022, or maybe it was Q1 of 2022, he had negative 1.4% GDP growth.
Yeah.
Like he had already been put back on track, and then for no reason whatsoever, it's now negative.
Right.
Right after these things happened.
Donald Trump's fault. Donald Trump's fault. This is what the left does. Barack Obama was blaming George Bush in his second term, in case you forgot.
That's right. And by the way, she wants to go, you said this and I wrote it down, a new way forward.
Yeah, she's,
From you?
we're not going back.
We're not going back to
not
you?
going back,
I
yeah.
don't understand this whole like
Throwing Biden under the bus big time.
acting like this didn't happen.
They are voting for her is going back. That's what it is. It's going back. It's going back. It's going back for good.
Song?
Whatever I did, well, I fucked up.
Oh, jeez.
I just taking you back for good. All right.
Not the radio version.
No, I'm sorry. YouTube dumb. Well, it doesn't matter. You can cuss on YouTube. You can say all kinds of depraved things. You just can't fact check the left. Let's continue with this. Check. Manufacturing jobs is another thing that she discussed here, which is her claim is patently false. She says, she being Kamala, that they created 800,000 new manufacturing jobs. It's not even close, but watch her say it.
When we do what we have done to invest in the American people and bringing manufacturing back to the United States so that we created over 800,000 new manufacturing jobs, bringing business back to America.
Here's the truth. No. So, 592,000 of the jobs she's kind of talking, they were manufacturing jobs. They were returning from COVID, right? Like we just talked about. You saw that trend toward the end of Donald Trump's presidency. They only created, you can argue, 173,000 new manufacturing jobs, which sounds good. It's not 800,000, but it's something. Again, these facts don't exist in a vacuum. You contrast that, 170,000 or so new manufacturing jobs. Donald Trump created 414,000 new manufacturing jobs during his term.
That seems almost better.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. Significantly.
Yeah.
I don't do math, but it's at
twice.
least like 3.
Well, I think over 100,000 of those manufacturing jobs had to be revised down because they missed on the numbers by almost 1 million total jobs.
Yes. Every single jobs report has had to be revised. Hey, if you like this video, you can comment or hit the notification bell to know when there are more videos, but it's probably taken from today's full show, which you can watch here. It's live, weekdays, 10 a.m. Eastern, where you can watch live. But I don't know when you're watching this, so it could be any of the day's show. When you're right now you're watching, it could be a Monday. It could be a Tuesday, Wednesday. Could be Thursday. Well, it could be Friday.